Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be checking out Carlos Alcaraz's forehand and breaking down some of the fundamentals that make his forehand the insanely good shot that it is. So let's get straight into it. So straight away we're going to be analyzing from the behind the court view, and you can see how when the ball comes in to Carlos's side, you can see how he keeps the left hand on the throat of the racket, and he's just using that, I call it the set position. So he gets set in this position, and this is just helping him coil his body, store energy through his core, and it also helps with his balance and efficiency of loading his legs. So he keeps set here until the ball almost bounces on his side of the court. So as the ball's coming down, he lets go of the throat of the racket just before the ball bounces on his side of the court here. You can notice now, as the ball comes in, when the ball bounces, he drops the racket down. So he actually gets the racket, he gets the strings facing down when the ball's coming in to land. And that means he's going to be able to drop his racket head underneath the ball. But also, as the ball's coming down, he's going to load on that right leg. So he's going to load on his right leg as the ball's about to land. And that's just going to allow him to push off and kind of explode into the ball. The next thing I'm kind of having a look at is how, from this angle, how he creates his racket lag position. So notice how the racket, as he goes to hit it, it lags back behind him. And this is because he's storing a lot of energy in his hips, and he's able to create this angle with his forearm and his wrist because he's very relaxed in the wrist. And as he uncoils his body, this allows it to come through almost like a whip effect. So you can see the next thing, as he makes contact with the ball, he extends out to the ball with a straight arm here. So if I just go there, you can see how his arm is nice and straight out at the contact. On this particular shot, he does his, similar to a Rafael Nadal kind of finish where he lassos over his head, and that just helps him create a lot of height and shape over the net. So let's just wind on another one. Here you can see how he's set on the throat of the racket. And if I was to draw a line through his shoulders, you can see how high, and his head, you can see how high he's actually taken that racket. So that racket is just slightly above his head height here. And that's just something to think about if you're trying to take a few of these keys and put it into your own forehand. So just notice as the ball bounces, he's still set. And now as the ball bounces, he's dropping down. So he's almost going down with his body, and he's going down with his legs, and he's going down with his racket here. And he's relaxed in the hand. He's not tense here. He's just able to drop the racket down, almost like the classic cliche of pat the dog on the head. A lot of the pros like Federer and Nadal get into this position. And now you can see how his hip here, because he's loaded on his legs, his hip is going to rotate. And you can see that his hip is about to go from this way. And that's what allows his racket to lag back into that position. And he's able to create this angle here with his racket head. You can see how far away from his body he's actually contacting that ball. So he makes contact roughly about here with a nice straight arm. And he's going to be able to close the racket face down on the follow through. So the racket comes over the shoulder, and you can see how the strings are facing down. So he's actually closing the palm of his hand out at the contact. And that's why he's hitting some huge forehands. So now, guys, we're going to look at this the side view. So now we're able to see what he's doing from the side angle, and the same thing goes here. The ball comes in, he gets set with that left hand on the throat of the racket. He almost puts the edge of the racket between his thumb and his index finger. You can see that he's got this angle with his body position. The strings are facing the side, so he actually gets the strings facing off to the side, and you can see how there's this space between his elbow and waist. It's almost like a 90-degree kind of angle here. So he really keeps that elbow nice and high. And one thing to notice is how his hand is higher than his elbow, whereas a lot of players would have their hand here and their elbow up. So he's actually got that hand higher than the elbow. Now when the ball comes in, he's going to go down, so he starts to get his whole center of gravity starting to go down with his legs here. And then you can see how he gets this extension position. You can see how he's got a nice straight line with that arm to elbow, elbow and wrist position. The racket's gone back. And then you can see how far in front he makes contact with the ball there. So that's something to really think about if you're trying to take away a few Alcaraz tips. And then notice how he does his Rafa Nadal finish again. So let's just wind on to another one. So the ball comes in, he turns, he keeps the strings facing the side, hand up, elbow position high with that angle. One thing to notice is this wide base as well. He always has a nice wide base. The feet are always wider than his shoulder position. So if I just that you can see how he always keeps his feet very wide, and that just allows him to have a strong athletic base. And now when the racket starts to drop, he takes the racket down, and I can almost draw a line through his shoulder here, and you can see how he drops that racket all the way down there, and he makes this arm straight on the tape back as well. He has the tip of the racket facing the back wall, and the butt cap is actually facing down the court towards the ball. And he pulls it all the way through, rotating through his hips, contacting out in front. Notice the extension with the arm, driving through the contact, and then just watching the follow through come through. He keeps extending through here, so he doesn't bend that elbow too early. He keeps the extension going through. And then he pulls up. He finishes. This one he actually follows through all the way. And you can see how the strings face down on the follow through over his shoulder. So, thanks a lot, guys. That's Carlos Alcaraz's forehand. Hopefully you can take away a few tips, and like and subscribe to see some more videos like this. Thanks a lot.